Big up everybody and welcome back to Sports Centric. I'm your host, Billy2109, and let's talk about this Aston Villa versus Tottenham game. Now, as a football fan, I need to see it before I believe. And it's all good fans going into this game thinking Spurs are going to win. But what tangible evidence have you seen so far telling you that Spurs are going to win this game? Give me something realistic on the eye that you actually believe Spurs are going to win this. It's all good coming in with hopes and dreams, but there has to be some level of realism to the conversation. Where do you think Spurs are going to target in the game? Which players do you think that's going to cause Aston Villa trouble in this game for Tottenham Hotspurs? Where do you think Spurs are going to have to concentrate? And do you actually think Aston Villa will go into this game with one eye on the semi-final against Nottingham Forest on Thursday? I'll open this chat up so that people can come in and talk, and so I can find out how they feel about it. So please feel free to come on. And for me, like I said, I'm a football fan, but I'm a realist first. And the evidence of this season alone, I look and see where are Spurs going to look today? Whereas from Tottenham Hotspur is going to cause Aston Villa problems. Because Villa, to me, they've got Onana out after his injury on Thursday night. And they've got Tielemans still there. Camara's out. So you're looking at Odegaard, or you're looking at Douglas Luiz possibly coming in. So where are Spurs going to target? Are they going to target young Odegaard, seeing that he's just come into the squad? Or are they going to try and unnerve Douglas Luiz, who last stint in the Premier League at Nottingham Forest on loan wasn't good? He stole a bit of Juventus and now come back to Aston Villa looking for a redemption arc. But he's not exactly hit the ground running. So would you target Douglas Luiz? And then what players are you looking for the inspiration from if you're Tottenham Hotspurs? Gallagher's not really a creative player. No disrespect to him because he's a bit of everything. He's exactly what you need in a dogfight. You've got Basuma, who can tread on the ball, bring it forward, but he's not creative. You've got Bentancur, who is a bit of everything, but doesn't excel at one thing. And if you're having him as the holding midfielder and allowing the other two to get forward, where is the dynamism coming from in the Spurs midfield? But like I said, I've opened this chat up, so if you want to come in, let me hear your point of view. Because to me, I'm looking at the game and I'm thinking, realistically, where are Spurs likely to score? And even if somehow they do possibly create, you're looking at strikers who are predominantly known for not being able to finish them in the Pigeon and in Mawani. Now, if you're looking to hit on the counter-attack, Mawani possibly could be the best striker, seeing that he's known to be able to play on the shoulders of the last man. I wouldn't trust the Pigeon to do that because when I look at him, a lot of the times he doesn't make the run at the right time, so you see him stray offside. Good strikers look across the line before they make the run. Bad ones just make the run with no clue of where they are on the pitch. And that's what I noticed with him quite a few times. But what are your points on the Pigeon? Like I said, where do you think the goals are going to come from? Because to me, I think we've gone all the way around this season as a Spurs fan. And I think the goals that we're going to be looking for in the next couple of games are going to come from set pieces, knockdowns, and scraps in the penalty area. No, we can't exactly live off that as a fan. You have to have some kind of threat from open play because you can't always get set pieces. And while I believe in De Zerbi coming in and saying the players are better than they are, and hopefully that kind of pamper treatment would get them up there. I don't see it lasting in the long run. But what are your opinions out there? That's what I'm asking you as a fan. What are your opinions out there? I've heard enough of my opinions. Let me see if I can see the chat here. I can't really see the chat, so I'm having a look to see if there's anybody in there. I can't see anything in there. Sorry. So let me continue on. So where do you think Spurs are going to get the goals? Like I said, Aston Villa versus Spurs here. Who's your money on? Because Aston Villa on the flip side here, like I say, have a European Cup semi-final this Thursday where they're losing 1-0 to Nottingham Forest already, but they're on their own patch. Coming into this game, Anana's just been ruled out of the game, and I doubt he'll make the semi-final. So the other players like Douglas Luiz and Bodegaard are playing for that position alongside Tillemans. Will one of them step up in this game? Because that's serious competition, and most of them would want to play in that semi-final, like I was saying earlier. Morgan Rogers, Bundea. These players here, I believe we're going to see the creative elements from them on the pitch this afternoon. I'm going to be looking to see the triangles and the different shapes that they make as they try and play through Tottenham Hotspur, because that's the only team I can see that's got creative spark on the football pitch. And without creative spark, you can't really score anything. Xavi Simons going down last week was a critical blow for Tottenham Hotspurs, I felt. And it's because he adds that creative element. Maddison is now on the bench, and I have a feeling that Spurs will somehow later on try and squeeze Maddison onto the field. And for me, I can't see that being the answer, not for Maddison in the long run as a player, because I don't think he'll ever get back to what he was, but that's not on him, that's just the injury. And for Spurs, you shouldn't really be in a situation to force players back from injuries because of this, the squad isn't right. So the villains of this season haven't been the managers per se, because they're only given what they're given to work with. It's the people above them. This is why I call it institutionalized failure. But what are your opinions on it? Like I say, I want to be challenged both here and... So I want your opinions on the situation at Tottenham Hotspurs regarding this game. Let me see if I can copy the link and put it in the chat. If you're in the chat, please, if you want to come on, please put the camera on if you want to come on. Let me see if I can get it out. Oh, well, if no one wants to come on, that's their business. I just wanted to say my piece at the end of the day. And you can either agree with it or you don't. That's up to you. And if you don't agree with it, give me an opinion of why you don't agree with it. Like I said, I want to challenge you as well as myself. And this is why I made this channel. Everyone can challenge each other. That way, in the hope that we can improve as fans. No one will be persecuted for their opinion. I do not bear judgment of opinion. and I hope no one is judgment on me for my opinion, it doesn't symbolize who you are as a person. So please feel free to put your opinions in the chat. But like I said, with Aston Villa, if you look at that club, and fortunate for me, I grew up in the days of Dalian Atkinson, Tony Daly, Dean Saunders, Dwight York, Savio Milosevic, big run as the Villa manager. And then I've watched that team go through from 94 all the way up to 2015, see them get relegated with the Jack Grealish scenario with Tottenham Hotspurs, and Spurs being in the Champions League final the year they didn't buy anybody. And Aston Villa's then getting a new chairman in, them getting promoted, them then bringing in the likes of Ollie Watkins before Spurs, them signing the likes of Emi Buendia before the likes of Arsenal, them possibly getting other players in, the likes of Pau Torres, who's linked with Tottenham so many years, them getting him in. So Aston Villa are actually grow within themselves. And you look and you think, 7 years ago, the two teams were miles apart and it was in Tottenham's favour. In the last 7 years, you look at Aston Villa and you think, they've gone past Tottenham. All because they've gone out there and bought the players they actually needed. They looked at what system they have and what manager they have and bought players accordingly to fit their manager's style of play. But if they had Steven Gerrard before they had Emery, and Emery's come in there, revolutionised the club and made them who they are. They've been in the Champions League, they've been in the Europa League, and now they're actually thriving as a football club. And for the last, I would say, 3 years, they've been challenging around the top 4. Now, when you think of them being in the Championship 7 years ago and them now being as a top 4 side, challenging in and around there, them getting into the Champions League and getting quite far, only PSG knocked them out last year, remember? And now they're on the brink of getting to a Europa League Cup final. Only have to play Nottingham Forest with a 1 set. And you look at it and you think, that club has done tremendously well. Yes, they were close to their 96% wage turnover, but when you look at what that team has done, you can't help but say, well done to them. And it's the same with Crystal Palace, to be fair. But when I'll mention Crystal Palace, actually, I'll do a little bit of Crystal Palace today, actually. And when you look at what they've bought for Glasner, when you look at the likes of Maxence Lacroix, what a defender he is. And they've brought in players here according to Glasner and the way that he suits his system. Every signing is made with a plan in mind of where they're going to put that player on the pitch. The same with Aston Villa. They know when they sign a player, they know specifically what position they're going to have. And so they've got competition for places. Players know they have to perform or they're going to be out of the team. Yeah, Aston Villa have no problems in selling a player if they deem that he's had 1 year, after 1 year, he's not good enough, as we've seen in Diaby. When they bought him for 50 million, they sold him the year after for 50 million. The same with John Duran. They're quite a ruthless club when they have to be. And yes, they are conforming with the PSR rules. But you look at Aston Villa and you look at Crystal Palace, like I said, both clubs, and you think, as a Spurs fan, I'm jealous of that. Because you can see how well run they are and why they bring in Pacific players and why they are in the position they are in the league. And last year, I looked at, when you look at Aston Villa this year, they're on the verge of qualifying league final. Plus, they are also in a respectable league position. That's all you can ask for as a fan. When I see Tottenham Hotspurs finishing 17th to win the Europa League, I'm embarrassed. But what are your thoughts on this subject? Because, like I say, I talk, and I just want to have your opinions. So please, like, put them in the chat. If you want to come on and you've got your camera, put it on. But I want to challenge not just myself, but other people as well. So my next thought process goes with, what do you think is going to happen in this game? What do you think Spurs' strengths lie in this game? What would you target? Aston Villa come in, play with intensity, knowing that a lot of the players may never get to the pinnacle of playing in a European Cup final again. So when they come in not half-hearted, that's a bit disingenuous. But come in there with a thought process of, I don't really want to put myself into a tackle, into a 50-50 challenge, and do myself in with a massive game coming up that we may never play in again. With players go in there thinking, no disrespect to Xavi Simons, but when you look at the injury last week, that's paid dividends to his World Cup dreams, and that's 4 years having to wait for that. Does that play a part in the player's mind? Anyway, I'm going to end this show here because, like I said, I've thrown this show open. If people want to come on, you can come on. That's up to you. I can see a little bit of comments, but I can't really see anyone in the chat that's willing to come on and challenge these theories right now. So I'm going to end it there. I just wanted to see where people believe that the victory is going to come from today from a Tottenham's perspective, because I just can't see it. Thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you next time on Sports Century. Bye.